An Indian netizen ridiculed me in a comment, saying that China has no real friends in the world and is an enemy to all neighboring countries. In fact, this sentence is completely wrong to describe China. China has extensive influence on all Central Asian countries and generally has friendly relations with ASEAN countries. They are each other's largest trading partners and have far-reaching influence on Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, and other countries. China and Russia are in a honeymoon period and are natural partners with North Korea. It can be said that except for South Korea and Japan, which are directly commanded by the United States, and the Philippines, which is an internal strife, China has good relations with neighboring countries. Looking at the world, China is the largest trading partner of most countries and ranks first in the international trade system. These countries are constantly negotiating with China to increase investment, help build infrastructure, and make money together. China exports trade and prosperity to other countries, and the vast South has generally accepted the fact of China's rise and regards it as an opportunity rather than a challenge. For example, wealthy countries such as Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates purchase a large number of Chinese technology products and even weapons. South American countries such as Chile and Brazil are in deep cooperation with China. China is not isolated in the international arena, and friendly partners are all over the world. On the contrary, India has generally tense relations with neighboring countries and has repeatedly interfered in other countries' internal affairs, becoming a public enemy. Nepal, Maldives, Bangladesh, and Bhutan have begun to expel Indian representatives, keep their distance from India, and move closer to China. The railway between Nepal and China is entering the implementation stage. After it is open to traffic, India will lose Nepal forever. Nepalese people know very well that China brings railways, water conservancy facilities, power stations, urban infrastructure, and high technology, while Indians will only shamelessly occupy Nepal's land and export arrogance, poverty, and ignorance. The former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, supported by India, was ousted in a coup and went into exile in India. In fact, Bangladesh's economy is developing well. With the support of China, it has vigorously built infrastructure and developed labor-intensive industries such as the textile industry. Its per capita GDP has surpassed India. Bangladeshis are not stupid. It is far better to follow China to modernize and live a decent life than to be poor with India. China and Pakistan have reached an agreement to expand Pakistan's J-10C fighter fleet to 50, exceeding the size of the 36 Rafale fighter fleet equipped by the Indian Air Force. At the same time, Pakistan will purchase 40 J-35 fighters to form a high-low match with the J-10C. The Chinese Air Force currently deploys a large number of J-10, J-11, and J-20 fighters in Tibet. The total number of China's J-20 fighters has reached 300, and the J-35A has also been fully finalized and entered the mass production stage. In addition, China is negotiating with Bangladesh on the sale of J-10C. China intends to provide advanced weapon systems to Bangladesh at a preferential price to strengthen the friendship between the two countries. In the future, the Indian Air Force will face a three-sided attack from the Chinese weapon system, and the pressure is unprecedented. When Indians bought Russian weapons, they boasted that Su-30 MKI was the strongest fourth-generation fighter on the planet. Now they have bought the French Rafale fighter at a price 3 times that of the F-35, and they have begun to boast that the Rafale fighter has the strongest combat effectiveness, and the 4.5-generation fighter beats the Chinese 5th-generation fighter J-20. Which country the Indians buy weapons from, they will regard it as the daddy of India. Since they are so confident, China might as well humiliate India by exporting a large number of Chinese-made weapon systems to countries around India to compete head-on with India's poor hybrid weapon systems. China develops its military industry and provides weapon systems to friendly countries around the world, enabling them to resist the bullies around them. It can not only improve China's diplomatic situation, but also stimulate domestic economic development. This is a good thing that has the best of both sides. At the same time, India, which is under great pressure, cannot buy advanced weapons from their Western fathers at low prices. It can only use precious foreign exchange resources to buy low-performance versions of weapons from other countries at high prices. After all, Western countries have never regarded India as a friend and will not leak core technology to a capricious country like India. Russia once regarded India as a friend and exported a large amount of military technology to India, and even leased top secrets such as active nuclear submarines to India. However, after Russia was isolated by the West, India did not make any support for Russia. Instead, it took the opportunity to lower the price of Russian energy, buy at low prices, and resell at high prices. A country without character like this can never have real friends. Russia is now troubled by the Ukrainian war. Once the Russians recover their national strength, the Indians will face ruthless slaps from their former daddy Russia. As the country with the largest number of illiterates, the largest number of extremely poor people, the dirtiest environment, and the most serious pollution in the world, India's per capita income and Human Development Index are far lower than those of normal countries. It claims to be the world's largest democracy, but it implements an ignorant caste system. It claims to be the free world, but Prime Minister Modi incites religious hatred and instigates Hindus to persecute Muslims and other religions. Such a shame of human civilization has to guide the diplomacy of neighboring countries and dream of becoming a superpower. I don't know what bugs are in their heads that make them have such cognitive biases. The United States and Western countries, the Democratic Value Alliance in the eyes of Indians, treat India as a dog. The Canadian Prime Minister publicly accused the Indian government of intervening in the murder of a Canadian Sikh leader. Trump spoke to Xi Jinping soon after his victory and broke the diplomatic convention of more than 100 years to invite Xi Jinping to visit the United States. Modi, the leader of the world's largest democracy, was forgotten by Trump. After all, in the eyes of Americans, China is a competitor but worthy of respect. India is just a lapdog. When the United States needs it to bark at China, just throw a bone. It is completely unnecessary to give India equal respect. I still want to say to Modi and BJP fans that caring about whether you have air conditioning at home, whether you have a car, whether your children have a tablet computer, and whether they can afford to go to the playground is more meaningful than the illusory dream of the Bharat Empire. To be honest, although I am a very patriotic Chinese, I am not anxious about when China will surpass the United States, or whether it can surpass the United States to become the world's #1 superpower. After all, as long as my family lives a decent life, has a car when going out, a game console and a tablet when going home, can go out to travel on holidays, and the children don't have to worry about drinking milk and eating ice cream, why should I care whether the country is strong? For me, the speech of the Chinese national leader at the G20 is far less attractive than the live broadcast of the League of Legends or Honor of Kings. I will cheer for the Chinese team to win the League of Legends' Game Championship and be frustrated when they lose to South Korea. The videos of Chinese players winning the Olympic Games is far less attractive to me than the highlights of Honor of Kings. A person must first live with dignity and then consider the so-called national honor. When Modi and Adani have a party in the villa, they will never think of you who live in the slums and have unstable electricity.